You know what, Moles? You can sit this one out. I'm in the zone. It's all coming back to me. All of the pain. Just let me cook. Okay, now we're at day 3, and now I can finally talk about why I look like a buffoon on the floor of this pizza parlor's basement. After the disastrous, spirit-crushing events of the night before, it was a mostly silent, tearful ride back to the motel. Still, we woke up the next morning and sorta collectively agreed that we would not let that night define our experience and started looking forward to the next show. Foolish in hindsight, but we weren't psychic. My personal state of affairs wasn't so great, and by wasn't so great, I mean in shambles. Only 2 stops in and I was completely broke. Beyond completely broke. We're talking negative amounts. It was at this point that my guys basically had to feed me for the rest of the tour. Super mega ultra shout out to them because they could have left me to die somewhere in Colorado and I would have understood because they were broke too. I thought about calling my parents to beg for money, but I knew they would ask why I was broke since I told them before I left, like I was told by someone, that I would be getting paid at these shows. I just didn't have the heart, energy, patience, or pride to spare to tell them about the freshly discovered reality of the situation. On top of everything, do not forget that money was also being spent, unexpectedly, on lodging. And do remember that there was a gang of us. So when G arrived from LA during the 3rd day, and the number of the participants in the Can't Win tour reached its peak of 11, we were really in hot water. Imagine, 2 rooms, 4 beds total, and 11 people. We were definitely out here sleeping together. It was all acutely distressing. Moods were constantly fluctuating between pain-induced hysteria, wary optimism, and complete depression. For what it's worth, I think we held up remarkably well for being faced with the idea that we may have picked the wrong paths in life every night, but I was certainly close to crumbling. Close to the edge. Hungry, tired, dejected, and suffering from forced intimacy, I started threatening to lay the smackdown on people for no good reason.
Blue Crystal.
What are you doing?
Blue Crystal.
Sit the down.
You might come get this rock bottom. If I get on his bed, get this.
Man, if you don't shut. Hell, Paul, I'll get up so you can him up real quick.
Can we go eat, man? Man?
Just bring it. Hey, is it hot outside or what?
Yes.
I was playing.
After a day of securing the next sucker to join the circus, eating donated food, and getting done up, showtime had arrived yet again. We made our way to Burlington, Colorado, aka Ghost Town, USA, and hope for the best. But, as you ought to know by now, hope is a joke on the Can't Sleep tour. So, as we did whenever we had to watch helplessly as the jig slowly ascended into the sky, cue the music. We showed up to find that we would be performing in a basement to a crowd of tumbleweeds and lint balls, in the middle of a tornado warning, while a literal circus was in town, which, in a town of like -10 people, was always going to be a bigger draw than some nobodies in the basement of a pizza parlor. So, assuming they even left the house to risk getting Dorothy'd, which thing do you think they're gonna do? Also, what comes after a night where a sound system craps out on you? Oh, right, a night where you have to set up the system yourself since the person running it couldn't tell a cable from a gummy worm. Yes, we had to scramble to figure out how to set up the sound at our own show, or else there would have been no show. Thankfully, we figured it out, then proceeded to pretty much perform for ourselves since, barely anyone showed up. All the while, we find out Nils is getting pressed by some drunk dude outside. For all of this trouble, at least we got paid this time, right? Yeah, we got paid. In pizza. 1 pizza. For 11 people. Poor Paul ain't even get a slice since he was performing when it came out. And what comes after all of this? An impromptu open mic situation where one of the -10 people who showed up launched into a performance of poetry in an Icelandic language. I can't make this up. We all knew we had to have done something strange in life to end up listening to a lady do Icelandic poetry in the basement of a now closed pizza joint in the middle of Colorado in the middle of a tornado. I won't front though, it was actually kind of fire, and that Icelandic definitely gave us a few flow ideas. But yeah, the Can't Sleep tour strikes again.